So we already talk about that one's environmental variable settings. So we have set the variables, we have start the services, just we need to become online, this go to these directions, locations, and then run the start.service command and just put it the your jar files. Maybe you just copy this the deployment packet into the installation department. They will just change the these informations and then change the run the application. That's all. This is the installation. Really efficient way, professional way to handle that one. So just you copy the jar file, new version of your jar files, new version of your implementations, and then you could copy this jar file into the local directory and send this directory to the installation department. They will just change the set the environmental variable settings, and they will be change this part of the informations where they try to install, and then run after they run these commands, cmd commands, to install the your jar file, to install the your application. That's you can do. So that means we implement, we configure, we implement, we do the JUnit test. We didn't did it, but we already had it some unit test into my applications. I didn't have enough time. I will show you later how the unit test is done. And then we packed it our application as a jar files. You see the jar files packing, and then we copy the jar files and set all the environmental bedding, run the applications. Let's have a run the applications, how it works, and how we can do the Postman testing with the applications. That's one. So if you saw, I started the GemFire server because we need to start before we installing the jar files. So go to the GemFire, just Google it. How can you start the GemFire server? And then you can, I already some screen how can write down. So you have help and versions, and then so on and so forth. And you can get the version if is the GemFire is properly installed, is 9.4.0 help. You can help commands and see the GemFire installation is properly working. When the GemFire installation, or you get the necessary information from the GemFire, then you can start the you can install the application, because you need your your backend server need to be getting ready, and then after that you can install the GemFire, install the game, first import the GemFire database, and then run the application. You see the one way we are doing the testing the locally, and then we can another way around they can run the applications with the jar files. So we are here, we are testing with the locally how it's done, but finally end of the day we will run the application with from the external configurations. But I'm trying to show you how can you locally run the from the your development, how can you execute your application from this. So you see the applications is running the 9009 port locally, and then you can do the test with the Postman, and then after that, when all the Postman test is running, we build your jar files, configure the necessary information that's we are talking about, and run the service start service command, batch files, and install the application. And that's all. That's I mean looking for. So application is running, that's what we expected. So got the idea. So you build the application, you configure the applications, and then you try to start the application. You start the application with the embedded Tomcat, and the Tomcat is started with open port number 9000. So we did here some basic implementations. We have many examples. How can you set the Postman with the global environmental variable settings, and so on and so forth. For just those who are new in the Postman, you can go to my channel. There is many example how can you set the globally those environmental variable to export or to import these test cases for the testing department. They simply import the test cases. That they simply just change your IP address and port number where they try to install the application. That's I said how the implementation, the deployment process, which environment they are. Just you did the test environments in the locally, and it set the environmental variables, all the local variables, and then you can go for export these test cases from the test department, will take these test cases, run the same test that you did, that's everything working properly. If the department says all are right, then you finally deploy the applications with external configuration with the thousands of machines of your clients. So as you see, the one of the post example we are setting with a context type is a application.json context, and then we have post methods. We just pass the body of the informations, we just all the information that we have in domain class. We set some values for that one. We have a pictures, and then all the information, just like it's like testing something, just really basic testing. But if you need really more test coverage, maybe the 80% or 90% test coverage, you need to be do all the possibilities. But where we are trying to here give it to you idea how can you start the Postman testing with the basic CRUD operations, one of the example from here. So you got the data, because that's I said this is the address location was the really default implementation of the REST repository. That's why I see the link, and then there is less control on our side. That's I said in my presentation, in my implementations. So you got the idea. So we get the one record, specific record from the address location informations with the necessary self link and all links, and so on and so forth. So it's got put methods. You change the values, one of them, and then you see the how the put method works. I believe it works. So it's a basic testing of the services. So changing the road type, just looking for it works or not. So in the down level, I believe it works. The status is okay, and then set automatically update the informations. And save you can save also the test results. And then finally maybe the what we updated, you see the update information is properly, and then we pass the address 100 with the local host port, and then so on and so forth. So get so all the information there. So delete method, maybe we didn't do the delete method yet. So that's I mean how can you set the global variables in the respect to the, if you don't set it every time you have to be put the URL. This is a rubbish way to handle. But even though we can put it to global variables, that's I said in my channel there is many example how can you set the global variables. That means you don't need to write down every time here, just the other department, installation department or testing department, they will just change their these variables one times and everything work properly. That's I mean. This is the standard way dev environment. So we set the global variables, and then the test environment variables, they will just change their IP address and port number, and then they just simply same test that you have it here, and then run it automatically. That's I said. Just those have no experience about that one, just follow Google it and go to my channels, and then everything was perfect. That's I mentioned it here. So you got the idea, the basic Postman testing, and it works automatically. The CRUD operation, the create, update, delete, and then if you need more test coverage, you can please do the more test coverage for your services, and then export these services and test cases to the testing department. They will run the testing